Okay, so level 4, we're going to do some more substitution, but the solving is going to be a little bit different. So we've done quite a few different types of solving. We've solved linear equations where you just have an x and a y. We've solved quadratic equations that you can see in B and C because of the square. And then we've also solved like square root functions and absolute values. So I'm going to take you through a couple different examples of what you could see here, but all this solving is something that we've done before, so I just want to refresh your memory. So looking at letter A, what we have here is y equals the absolute value of 3x minus 7. So we're going to use that same concept of substitution that we used in 5.2. Since y equals the absolute value of 3x minus 7, we're going to replace that with the y down there. So that looks like 16 minus 4, equals 4 times 3x minus 7 plus 8. So what we're going to do to solve this, if you remember, is we're going to try to get this 3x minus 7 by itself. So we're going to go ahead and subtract the 8 from both sides. Let's get 8 equals 4 times 3x minus 7. And then we are going to divide by 4 because it's being multiplied there. So I'm going to divide this by 4. So this equals 2. 3x minus 7. Okay, so now that we got the absolute values by itself, we can create two equations. One where it equals a positive 2, and one where it equals a negative 2. So I'll add 7 over here. So x is going to equal 3. And I'll add 7 over here. That's going to be 5. And divide by 3. X is going to equal 5/3. Okay, so when you're solving with absolute values, just make sure that you're getting the absolute value by itself by solving around it and then making your two equations. All right, moving on to B. You got two equations that equal y. Since they both equal y, you can set them equal to each other. So you got x minus 2 equals x squared minus 4. Or you can think about taking this and subbing it in for y. So in this type of problem where we have an x squared here and an x term, this is where we want to get things equal to 0 and factor. So I'm going to try and keep the x squared positive, so I'm going to leave that there and move the left-hand side to the right-hand side. So I'm going to subtract the x and add the 2. So I've got nothing left on this side. I've got an x squared over here. Now I can't combine anything with this negative x that I moved over here, so that's just going to go right there. And then I can put together the 2 and the negative 4 to become negative 2. Now from here we've got a factor. Since you got an x squared and an x term, we got to factor this. So we're going to start with x and x. And we think about what two numbers are going to multiply to get us 2. So that could be negative 2 and 1, or 2 and negative 1. Knowing that I have to add to get a negative 1, I'm going to pick the negative 2 and positive 1. So the last step here is just to solve each factor. X minus 2 equals 0. So x equals 2. And x plus 1 equals 0, so x is going to equal negative 1. Now something that I forgot to do in part 1 is we solved x. We also have to go back and find y. So what you would do is you would pick either equation. I try and pick the easiest one or the simplest one and find y. So I'll just do that in B real quick. So you always want to find your x values. So how you do this, you're going to pick out x, and we're going to start with this one, x equals 2. And I'm going to plug it into equation number 1.